This is Kevin and Darryl. We are with Darryl's Taxidermy, and we are doing a man cave tour.
We're gonna do a tour.
Yeah.
We can probably see some more things like the dungeon.
Yeah.
Things like that.
You got some cool stuff.
But the man cave's pretty exciting. It serves as the showroom. You know, it's the wow factor when they come here. They want to check out my work.
Yeah.
And then they see it and they go, okay, we're leaving it here. You got it going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's go on in.
Come on in.
So this Grizz here doesn't necessarily give me comfort. I don't necessarily want to see him outside my tent in the night. Your mule deer collection, I freaking love.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with one of those in my lifetime.
Yeah,
I'd probably stop.
Yeah, there's some big boys in there. This one here would be in the top 10 in the world.
The velvet one right
Yeah,
there?
he scores over 300. There's only a handful of them that score over 300.
Do you know where he came from?
That's a Grand Mesa buck, but the antlers were white and cracked, and I sent them off and had them put artificial velvet on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can put...
Yeah,
So
to do that, the horns had to be, they were kind of broke skull plate anyway, but they had to be in two separate when you send them off.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, you can't officially enter it in Boone & Crockett.
Oh, really?
Because it has the artificial velvet on it and the skull plate's cracked. But
oh, that's
still,
a bummer.
yeah, still a really nice deer.
What's number 2 up there?
Well, both of those deer, one scores 200 even as a typical, and the other scores 199 and 7/8. So that's a big typical. And both of those are Colorado deer. This other typical down here scores 207 and some change. That's a Colorado deer. So that, I think that one's probably maybe number 40 or so in the world as a typical scoring that high.
Yeah, yeah. He's just a relatively standard, but very pretty.
Yeah, big forks.
Yeah, pretty deer with big forks. He's actually kind of narrow, at least from this angle up at the top.
Well, he's not a 30-incher, but then 30 inches really doesn't mean anything, even though a lot of hunters strive to get a 30-inch mule deer.
Yeah, you've killed a 30-inch on the Mesa before, right?
I got lucky.
Yeah. What else over in here you want to show us as I knock stuff around?
Well, you're the one that's all interested. That's just stuff I sell.
I'm looking at these.
Yeah,
I think those
I
are
sell
cool.
Antlers and hides and rugs and mounts and cool lamps and things like that.
You ever actually use your pool table? Or
yes, but when I shoot pool, it's got to be for at least an hour if I'm going to move all these rugs around. As I said, I was going to build another shop this year, but the cost of building materials, that's kind of out. But when I go on my antler buying trips like to Jackson Hole, I try to find things like that. So I'll put this guy together, stain him up, and that's going to be a cool whitetail shoulder mount that I'll do.
Wow.
But when I go to sell this, I will tell the person that it's not a rack, you can't enter it in the record book, it's a pair of sheds. So I'm kind of honest, with things like that. Kind of.
So does that end up in someone's
yeah, and rather they're
or?
just doing it because they got a nice home in the mountains and they want an impressive mount, or they might say that they killed it, and they can tell whatever story they want once they get it from me.
It was day 9. We were snowed in the whole time.
But yeah, because of how busy I stay, rarely do I get a chance to mount my own stuff. The moose I killed on the Grand Mesa with the muzzleloader, that was 2012. I still haven't mounted that.
Oh, really?
Of course, I don't have room for it.
That's a pretty nice
anyway.
There.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That picture, this deer, I'll probably be in my new brochure too. See, I'm getting the new brochure together. I don't normally have that done till like end of August, right before hunting season.
Yeah.
So. Okay,
so you got this cool Cole buck here.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about him?
Well, that's the Moab Utah deer that was a well-known. They named it Cole. People had pictures and video of him since he was a little fawn.
Oh, really?
And he lived to be 3.5 years old, and he up and got chronic wasting disease.
Really?
So that's something for Moab to be concerned about, because this deer was running with other deer. They're mingling with other deer around the town, so you can certainly have more cases of chronic wasting disease. So
Yeah.
something to be concerned with.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely.
And I should be delivering that next week to the town of Moab, and we're going to have some sort of festivities.
Oh, really?
Got to do it. I've had it done for over a year, but because of COVID and towns being shut down, it just wasn't convenient, for me to bring it out then.
Yeah, and these are a lot more rare than an albino.
Yeah, way rare.
Like 1/10 as rare as an albino, or more rare than that even.
Let's just say more rare than an albino.
How many of these have you seen?
Just that one.
Just that one.
And I've
you-
mounted thousands of deer, seen millions of deer, but yeah, that's pretty rare.
And not only that, you also look for deer, follow deer,
That's right.
and everything. You probably have the lead in on any good roadkill killed around here.
I try to stay away from roadkill.
You do?
My cooking's bad enough.
So, what story you got on that?
Well, this guy here, now you see how the pedestal is bent?
Mm-hmm.
So at one time, his horns were regular. They get in fights and they break the pedestal. It leans over, it recalcifies. So every year after that, they will grow the antler out to the side, but it never comes out like a regular antler. It's always going to be something with a club, some weird point that comes up. But that's a heck of an elk.
Yeah, that is.
So that one, we're going to be mounting that pretty soon, and that's going to be on the front cover of the brochure with this other elk that the hunter killed the year before, which is very impressive. We'll show you that one.
Was it the same hunter?
Yeah, killed them back to back. Now,
Does-
one of them was on,
Does he have like just a freaky cam out somewhere?
he's, this one he kills public land, but where he lives down in Nuclear Natarita area, he's off the grid, so he's out there, pretty much got the place to himself, and,
Yeah.
got lucky and got that, but that's a heck of a bull.
Yeah.
And then the one that he killed the year before is this one. So this one just mounted, he's dry, haven't done the finish work on it, but here's what's neat about him. He's got this extra horn growing out. He's got a third horn here in the back growing out. And then he has a fourth horn growing out of here. So like I say, we haven't done the detail work and painted him, but he's dry. But that's an impressive elk too.
Yeah, so
So both of these, and now they're pedestal mounts. I got to put leather on the back. Both of these are going to be mounted on one stand.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to get aspen done. It'll be a bigger base than that, and then we make our own rock habitat.
So
and
was he
everything.
a West End elk as well?
A west?
Nuclear Natarita
No,
area.
this one here would be. It's either Arizona or New Mexico.
Oh yeah. So what causes him to get?
Don't know. That's crazy, and I don't know if this would have shed off as a separate antler or if it stays. And of course, he would have had to have had his ear like this. It wouldn't have been back in here, so it had to be down here. But that's the original cape with the elk, so that's going to be an impressive mount.
So what does he actually count for point wise?
You can count them all.
I got what, 10 on this side, 8 on the other.
Yeah, like I got 8 by 9, and then when you're counting this, that one splits back here a couple of times. They're all points.
Oh, I didn't see.
Okay, dungeon.
Yeah, let's go for the dungeon.
So I'm cluttered because we just got a big load, 13 boxes of capes and hides back. All of these are customers. We
13 boxes.
put 13 big old boxes. These are elk capes. We got all kinds of stuff.
Now all these muleys in here you said are 30, right?
Over 30 inches, non-typical. I mean, these are part of my big collection, like what's above the bar out there, but
Wow.
yeah, and very valuable.
Yeah. Darryl's retirement account.
And this is my shop where I do most of my stuff in here. And again, we're still going through and IDing things. Here's a deer cape. I can see it's a real short hair, so that would have been one of our archery. See, we put this tag in all deer, elk, so we don't get them mixed up.
Yeah.
I get back several hundred capes. It's like, you got to have your act together. You know?
Yeah.
Your cape has to go with your horns, so.
Yeah, I could see that being.
Well, yeah, I hear some stories, you know, where the hunters, I don't think I got my right cape back from that taxidermy.
Gave you an Alaskan bear like I gave you, and it comes back like a Colorado bear.
Colorado bear, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you said, boy, it looked big in the picture, how big is it? I go, it's not big at all. Don't go by the picture. No, that wasn't a big bear, but it wasn't a dink neither.
No, but it is super great
But
coat.
the picture that you had was his head looked much bigger.
Yeah.
So these got mounted about a week ago. They're drying, and you know we got pins and needles and things stuffed on them and holding things in place till they dry.
Now, are you true first come first serve, or are you like, let me get through all these antelopes? It's easier and quicker to do antelopes.
It's first come first serve because you can have a guy kill an antelope end of August, and another guy kills one middle of October.
Oh yeah.
And September's one of our busiest months because we get all the animals in there, not just deer, elk, bears, antelope. We're getting bighorn sheep, mountain goats, things like that.
Do you have a favorite animal to work on?
Well, I love working on a big non-typical mule deer.
Oh yeah.
You know, but I always like doing a moose too. I like moose hunting. And then we get our share of African in. That was in the drying phase there. So yeah, things like that you never know. So I've got my dentist was out, him and his son did African hunts, so I think I'm getting 18 or 19 animals out of that.
Wow.
I got a father and son team going to Africa. They'll probably be bringing me about 30 animals. But see, I won't even see those till probably like February or so. Even though they're hunting now, I won't see them till it goes through all the import-export.
Oh yeah.
So this is one of the shops, and like I say, we're cluttered because I'm running out of space. And
Now, you were talking one time when I was here about some of the historical parts of like how taxidermy used to be done
that's what I want to show you.
and how it is now.
So you see the forms around here that are all the details in it, the musculature and everything. Well, back in the day, say in the 40s, this is what taxidermists did. They used the original skull. The neck was a 2x4. They'd wrap straw around it, baling twine, whatever they had to hold it together, and then would mount it up. And of course, back then that was fine, but nowadays with the technology we have, these are just horrible mounts. So when I buy something, what I'm paying for is the horns, not the mount itself. That I'll just throw away.
Now, when you get the forms out there, do you adjust the hide to fit the form, or do you give dimensions to have the form made, or?
No, there's thousands of forms out there that you can order. If I'm mounting a big set of mule deer antlers, I got to have a big mule deer cape, and I buy capes, you know, all year, all during the hunting season. And you know, a lot of hunters don't realize that, you know, just because you kill this elk or this deer and you don't want to get it mounted, that cape's valuable. If you take care of it, all taxidermists will purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking earlier about some of my big old things that I buy on my Jackson Hole trip. My Jackson Hole trip I've been doing, for over 30 years now. I rarely miss a year. But it's just one day, and it's been going on now for 50 years. They have the elk antler auction. But the whole week before, I meet up with guys that are selling. Now, this was a set of sheds. I have it welded to this, and I'll be able to mount this up on a head, and that's going to be cool.
Yeah,
I mean, that is just awesome.
That is
But see, if
super
you
cool.
want a conversation piece, you want something that's impressive and impress your house guests or whatever when they come to you. You want something exciting up on the wall, not just some, you know, regular deer. So I have a few of these around. Of course, I haven't had time to mount them because.
Are you mounting turtles as well?
No, but tourists will buy them. You know, I got all kinds of stuff.
Wow,
So
that's cool stuff. That is cool stuff.
okay, the living room.
Yeah.
We'll look at a big old lion. So a hunting cabin year round.
Yeah.
Little house, but you know,
But it's a little cabin,
little cabin.
essentially.
I'm in the man cave most of the time, but that's the big lion that I killed in '97 up on the Grand Mesa. There are big lions like that running around. Just very elusive, you know.
I don't want him running around outside my tent hungry.
So they go by the size of the skull when they are putting it in the record book. It was 15 and 9/16. There was a newspaper article on me when that
Lion push
came
comes
out.
to shove.
Yeah,
Oh
me and the
yeah,
lion.
and we talked about this on the podcast.
Did
So
we have
did
that
a
on the podcast?
Yeah, yeah. That the lion pulled you down.
He was dead, but
Yeah.
he took me over the cliff with him. So, yeah, ended up in the hospital with some injuries, but, you know, he's in the living room and I'm moving around, so it's all good.
So you win.
I win.
Scoreboard, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, the size of his paws. If I saw this track in the snow, I would. It would give me a little bit of pause.
Yeah. We
Now,
ready?
now you said at one point this was like the number 2 lion.
Number 5 in the world at the time.
Number
Now,
5 in the
That's
world.
already been over 20 years ago. So where he ranks now, I don't know.
But at one time he was number 2 to Teddy Roosevelt's
Yeah,
lion, right?
Yeah. In
Yeah.
Colorado.
In
yeah.
Colorado, yeah.
And then Theodore Roosevelt's lion got beat several years ago, so there's a new number 1
Oh, really?
in the state of Colorado.
That's gotta be pretty cool. Like I knocked an ex-president
Yeah, kind of cool.
off of his perch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that was awesome.
Well, you've pretty much seen it.
Awesome.